Hey everyone, today we're going to be talking about the differences between poor people, middle class people, and rich people in regards to money and how they think about it, how they use it, how they spend it or don't spend it, things like that. So we're going to start off with, well, poor people. What do they do with their money? What do you guys think? Well, what they do is they like to spend money. And this is most poor people like to spend money, and they don't like to do other more financially responsible things with it, but they like to spend it. So that means that they like to, they don't like to, but they tend to live paycheck to paycheck, right? Paycheck to, we'll say PQ, paycheck to paycheck. That's just how they live. They do things like impulse buying. That's why, that's what Walmart takes advantage of, right? When you're going to do the checkout in that fast, 1 to 10 item lane, there's always, the things that people might forgot that they should have bought, like, batteries and maybe some drinks, some gum, stuff like that, some lighters. I don't know, I've seen lighters there before. And yeah, so they like, their kind of personality is they like to live in the now. Live in the now. So they're kind of, their way of looking at life is kind of like, oh, well, I just got, $1,000 on this last paycheck, probably less than that, like $500 every 2 weeks, or $700 or $800. Let's go get those shoes. Let's go get those shoes and some video games and some clothes. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have so much fun. So that's also, poor people are also a lot of young people, if you haven't noticed that. A lot of people coming, fresh out of university, college, or maybe they didn't go to those. Maybe they went just from high school straight into a job. They tend to be pretty irresponsible with their money, and they like to spend it a lot. So now we're going to go down to what the middle class does with their money. Well, what they like to do is they like to save money. And this isn't a bad thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing, and I'll tell you why. But so, in terms of save money, what that means is they like to, obviously save it for things like, they like rainy days, right? Save up for rainy days when they're bored, they want to go out, do whatever. They save for emergencies. So, if someone in their family gets sick in the US and they don't have insurance or something like that, that's what that's for, emergencies. Maybe they are behind on a car payment for some reason. Maybe there's a death in the family, something like that, right? So they save up for emergencies. Maybe everyone tends to save up for vacations in the middle class. Every year or two, people like to go on vacations, usually unpaid in some areas, but in Canada, it's paid for the most part. But a bad thing about this, which I'll do a separate video on one day, is this is bad because of something called quantitative easing. It's a giant word. Quantitative easing. So I'll try and explain what that is. It'll be a video in itself, but okay, so let's just say you make $1,000 on a paycheck, right? And you want to save, $100 of that. So you put $100 in the bank, and you do nothing with it. You don't invest it, don't put it in a mutual fund or any savings account or anything like that. It just goes into the bank just for easy access. And that money will have an interest rate somewhere between 0.5% and about 1.5% right now. Some banks are 2%, but usually it's around 0.5 to 1.5%. Meaning that if you put $100 in, next year it'll pay you back, what is that? 50 cents or $1.50, something like that. You'll get back 0.5% or 1.5%. That'll be added to your account. So, okay, people are saying like, oh, why is that a bad thing? You get an extra 50 cents. That's okay, you're getting more money. False. Quantitative easing is a way that the government pays back debt. And so what happens is inflation goes up 2 to 3% per year, and your interest rate, the money you get back for the amount of money you put in your bank, that only goes up 0.5% or 1.5%. So what's actually happening is you're losing 1.5% of that money. You may be getting more, but the buying power will be less. It's kind of confusing. I'll move over that. I'll skip over that. Google it if you need to, but I'll make a video on that in the future one day. So what do rich people do with their money? Well, do you have any ideas? Nope. I'm talking to a camera. They like to invest money. That is right. They like to invest their money, and they're usually pretty good at it if they're rich. Now, most investments don't pan out if they're for companies, but for things like, they like to invest their money in things like stocks. Usually, if you're a good stock investor, that's pretty safe. You can just invest it in Coca-Cola and McDonald's. I've done video on that already. They like to invest it in things so they get back 6 to 10% of their money. They beat out quantitative easing, and they end up making more money with the money that they earn. So what else can they invest in? Well, they invest in real estate, right? I'll get down here. They invest in real estate. That's something that I'm getting into right now. I'll explain in another video. They invest in real estate. They invest in things like other companies. They like to buy other companies. So it's kind of like stocks, but more hands-on. More like Shark Tank. That's what other companies is, investing in other companies. So they like to invest in the company. Hopefully it'll grow in value, and then they sell off their stock usually, or sell off their equity in the company. So that's just one of the many differences. We're going to go over a bunch here. This is going to be a long video, guys, so stick with me here. So anyways, difference is poor, they like to spend their money. Middle class, they like to save. Rich, like to invest. So what do you guys think about that? What do you do with your money? Do you like to save it? Do you like to invest it? Or do you like to spend it? I think that there's actually a difference between what you what you do with your money and what you want to do with your money. Almost everyone wants to spend it, right? Including me. But you should be saving or investing, right? For the most part, don't spend all your money. It's not a good thing. So moving on, what do poor people do? Well, sometimes, if they can, they use debt. So they use debt. Now, why would they do that? In terms of debt, I mean, stuff like credit cards, stuff that you have to pay back. Credit cards, mortgages, loans, stuff like that. So they use debt. I don't know a better way of putting this. That's bad J, just because. No, some of you are like screaming like, poor people don't do that. Who would do that? Use debt just because. I'll give you an example. There are some anecdotes in my real life. So they use debt. I know several people that have done this. They have used a loan or debt to go on a trip. I was offered to go on this trip with them. I had enough money saved up, and I said no. Some of them financed that trip on credit cards and a small loan, which they'll pay back over a couple years. That's not a good thing to do. Not a good thing in the long term. Short term, yeah, sure, the vacation might be fun. It might change your life. It might make you motivated to make more money. But in the long term, not a good thing to take out a loan to go on a trip. So another thing that people can do is they like to max out their credit cards to buy things that they don't need. So buy, clothes, sorry for my messy writing right now. Clothes, shoes, games, stuff like that, right? Clothes, shoes, games. People max out their credit cards. Sometimes people take out loans to buy computers, stuff like that. Unless that's an investment like it would be for me or everyone else in my family that uses computers for work. That's generally not a good thing. So that's what usually poor people do with their money. Middle class, or with debt, I should say. What do middle class people do? What do you guys think that they do with debt? So they use debt. What do you think? How do middle class people use debt? I'll give you one more second. Okay, well, here's what they do. They generally use it. They use it for a couple things. They use debt in a normal way for one mortgage, usually, maybe two, for one mortgage. So middle class people, they eventually, around the time they're 28 to 32 years old, they like to buy their first or second home, usually. So they use debt to buy that home, because they generally don't have, hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank. So they pay it off over 25 years. Okay, that's fine. So they use debt to buy one mortgage, and they use debt for 4 emergencies a lot of the time. That's also why they save too. So a lot of people have to take out payday loans, which sucks. Even if you're middle class, sometimes you got to take out payday loans to pay off medical bills, especially in the United States. In Canada, obviously that's not a thing because we have free healthcare. But yeah, so middle class people, they use it for generally mortgages and emergencies. What do rich people use? How do rich people use debt? What do you guys think? This is a big thing. I want you to note this down in your brain, okay? Here's how rich people use debt, and this is a big thing that kind of opened my mind up, well, in the last year or so. Rich people use debt. They I'll get down here. Oh shit, that's kind of low. Use debt as leverage. So what do I mean by that? I'll give you an example here. So a lot of people will take out debt to invest in stocks. That's one example. And I'll write down 2 more here and I'll get to them in a second. Real estate. Use debt to do real estate and to buy other companies. So it's pretty much the same thing as what they invest, what they do to invest their money. What they do, investing in their money. Okay, I'm not making sense there. So what people can do is, if you have good credit, if you're investing in the stock market, and let's just say you only have $1,000 to invest at a time. So you have that $1,000, but let's just say you have a good feeling about this stock and you want to invest more, but you just don't have the money. So you go call, or I guess I was going to say knock on the door of your bank, but you got to call the bank and say, hey, I want more money to invest in this stock. You can look at my credit score. I pay everything back on time. So the bank will say, okay, yeah, sure, as long as you pay us back. And if the stock goes down, you have to pay us even more back. But so let's just say I want to invest I have $1,000 to invest. You're allowed to usually take out another $1,000 from the bank. So you're investing $2,000 even though you only actually invest $1,000. You're borrowing $1,000 and you don't necessarily need to pay it back unless the stock goes really, really, really far down. So that's an example. Using debt as leverage in real estate, well, that's called mortgages. This is a good example. So I'll try and summarize this. Let's just say you want to buy a $200,000 home, 5% down payment, that's what, $10,000. So you have a $10,000 down payment, you borrow $190,000 from the bank, and then what you could do is rent out the real estate. You rent it out, have them pay off the mortgage, and all of a sudden you're getting a $200,000 house in 20 to 25 years for only $10,000, right? It's that's a good example. You're borrowing 95% of an investment to make money. And that investment, maybe you'll bring back $100 net per month from renters renting out that house. So if you were to have a mortgage that's $800, let's just say you rent it out for $900, you make $100 per month. That's just a rough example. There's other expenses and stuff. Moving on here, and they use it as leverage to buy other companies. Sometimes big giant companies don't have $1 million or $10 million in free cash. So what they do is they go knock on the bank and say, hey, we need like an extra couple $1,000,000 to buy this company. It's a good investment. Will you help us out with the payment? And they'll be like, yeah, as long as you pay us back like 5% over the next few years, yeah, go do it. So that's how the rich people use debt. They use it to make more money. They use debt to make more money. Middle class people use debt to kind of stay status quo, have their own home, and for emergency stuff like that. And poor people use debt in dumb, stupid ways. So what do you guys think about that? What do you use debt for? Do any of you have mortgage? I'm guessing based on my audience, about half of you, more than half of you should have a mortgage actually. The vast majority of the people watching these videos are, they're not young people. They're kind of people my age and older. I'm 20, well, I guess I'm kind of young. I'm 22. So, what are you guys investing in property? What are you guys doing? Or are you maxing out your credit cards to buy those video games? I would guess that if you're watching this video, you're not going to be up here. If you're searching financial information, you're probably not here, or maybe you want to get out of here and are going to go here or here. So that's just a good guess based on what I know about my audience. So we have a lot more to cover here, actually. So hang on. There's actually a lot more information I got to share with you guys. So what do poor people do in terms of their home? I didn't erase everything. My bad. You're probably yelling through the video. You didn't erase the last part, Jack. I know. So what do poor people do with their homes? Do they own it? No. They rent. Rent their home. This is a lot of young people. A lot of young people, students, people getting their first job, they rent. They rent and the money just kind of evaporates. I've done many videos on this. The money just kind of goes to the tooth fairy called the landlord, right? So, yeah, they essentially, what they do is they essentially, I shouldn't even write that. I shouldn't write essentially. I'm a Dumbo sometimes. What they do is they pretty much pay a mortgage. They pay a mortgage, except they do not get equity. So they do not get equity. Normal people who pay their mortgage, if it's $800, $800, or a lot of the $800 goes towards the ownership of the home. People that rent, they do not get ownership. The $800 just goes to someone else, and they're out $800, right? So poor people, they rent. They rent their homes. What do you think middle class people do? I kind of gave away a hint already. That's right, they own their home. They own their home. Home. That's right. Middle class people have one, maybe two mortgages. So a primary house and usually a cheap vacation home somewhere, right? So it's two mortgages or one. But so what this means is they pay a mortgage, with equity. Meaning that it's an investment in the long term. They're paying a mortgage and they're eventually they plan to own it or at least sell it one day, the home. So that's good. This is good. This is what the vast majority of people think is the best thing to do. What do rich people do? What do rich people do in terms of homes? Okay, well, I'll give you the answer here. What they do is they own their home. Yes, they own their home. But what they also do, we'll do a plus here. So they own their home, but they also own other people's homes. Own other people's, I don't even know if that makes sense, homes. So yeah, that's what they do. So they own their home plus other people's homes. And what do I mean by other people's homes? So rich people own their home plus the renters' homes. Does that make sense? That's what rich people do. That's how that's what their ownership, that's what their real estate ownership is like. They don't own one, they own many, many, many properties. And so what they do is they use other people's money to pay multiple mortgages. So I'll just write it quickly here. They use renters' money to gain equity. So yeah, that's what rich people do. They own their home and other people's homes, and they use renters' money to gain equity in all of those houses. So there are a lot of rich people that own like 1,000 units, 1,000 apartments, houses, whatever. There's a bunch of people you can look up online. Grant Cardone, there's a bunch of podcasts out there that I love. They own thousands and thousands and thousands of properties. They're all multimillionaires. because they have other people paying off mortgages for them, and they get the ownership of the property. That's what rich people do. I don't even know if all that fits on the whiteboard there. But yeah, that's in terms of real estate, that's kind of the main differences between poor, middle class, and rich people. So, we're going to close this. So, yeah, what do you guys do? Do you rent? A lot of people are renters these days because, well, here's the thing. For every one, Grant Cardone that owns 5,000 units, 5,000 apartments, whatever, complexes, there's 5,000 renters. That's just kind of the way the economy and real estate market is. Usually there's a little more homes. There's about 4 to 5% more homes than there are people that want to live in the homes. But for the most part, it's kind of a 1-to-1 ratio. So yeah, if someone owns 1,000 apartments, there's 1,000 renters, generally speaking. So what do let's just see here. What do poor people use their money for? What do they like to, if they have to spend their money, what do they use it for? That's what I'm trying to say. What do poor people use their money? So they use money for fun. Yeah, that's the best. We should do an exclamation mark. Yeah, they use money for fun. Right? So this is things like the things that you should be spending money on. All the young people know this. You got to spend money on clubs. You got to get the new Young Yeezys, the shoes. You got to get some video games. You got to get the new GTA, whatever's coming out, right? That's what they like to spend their money on, just material things. Makes sense, because those things do provide happiness, right? Money buys happiness. Kind of. Yes. No. Maybe so. The answer is yes, and I'll tell you why in another video. So what do middle class people do with money if they have to use it? They use excess, this is a big word, they use excess money for fun. For fun. So the people up here, they'll just, freaking spend whatever the hell they want, buy whatever they want, and worry about their, liabilities and stuff like that later. So middle class people, they like to kind of think, hey, let's pay off all of our bills and maybe we'll have enough money left over for a movie date, right? A movie date, because that's fun. Movie date, maybe we get to go, I guess, out for dinner is kind of the same thing. Or maybe we can save up at one day and splurge on a vacation if we save up enough, right? That's kind of the middle class way of thinking. Use excess money for fun, stay within your limits, don't do debt, stuff like that. What do rich people like to spend their money on? Does anyone have any idea? I have the answer for you. So, rich people, they use money to... Anyone have any idea? I'll give you a second. They use their money to make more money. Yeah, that's what they do. So the rich people use money to make more money. And so what do I mean by that is, it's kind of another way to say it, is they use their paycheck to get a bigger paycheck. Right? So if rich people have excess money, they like to spend that money to make more money. And then they use that more money to get more money, and more money to get more money. And that's kind of the accumulation of wealth. It's kind of it's a cool thing. It's compounding wealth. It's something I'll probably touch on in another video, maybe in this video. I don't know. So yeah, what do you use your money for? Do you save up? Use excess money? Do you use your excess money to make more money? Do you like to invest? Or do you like to get those Young Yeezy shoes that all those kids are so fond of these days? buy Kanye West. Is it Kanye West shoe, the Young Yeezys? Is he still like financially in a lot of debt? I did that video like, what, 5 months ago? I wonder if he's paid off any of the debt or not. I would guess so. I mean, the guy makes millions and millions, right? Maybe a month. So we're going back here. We have a couple more points to hit on. So what do poor people, how do they think about their money? So do you have any guesses? So they think about money. Any ideas? In the short term. Oh, it's not going to fit at the end there. That's okay. In the short term. I'll give you an example. When they get a paycheck, they think, I'll give this in a quote, what can I buy today? That's a poor people's way of thinking. What can I buy today? So, obviously, I know a lot of people, they get their paycheck, they're like, nice, I get to go, obviously get those new clothes. I get to get a new shirt today, get some new pants, get some new shoes. This is great. This is amazing. It's amazing, guys. So what do middle class people do? How do they think about money, right? Well, I couldn't think of a better way of saying this. They think of money. Think about money in a medium or middle term. So what do I mean by this? Well, middle class people kind of think, how much can I save with this paycheck and still buy those shoes? So it's kind of like you think about short term and long term a little bit. So how much can I save and spend? Right? How much can I save and spend? How do rich people think about money? Obviously, there's a really obvious answer here. There's actually was a study done. Oh man, it was by some trust. It was some USA government-run thing, and 89% of multimillionaire investors always invest in the long term. So they're thinking 5 or 10 or more years whenever they buy something. They don't think about what it's going to be worth in 3 months, 6 months, a year. It's always 5 to 10 years or more. So obviously, money, I'll just do it short, in long term. So obviously, I already kind of said it here. What will, we'll just say, what will this money be worth in 10 plus years? What will this investment or whatever I buy, what'll it be worth in 10 years? If it's $100, will it be worth, I don't know, 250? There's a rule of 72 actually, where if you divide an investment by 72, the rate of return. So if you get an 8% return per year on an investment, which is pretty good, it'll double in value in nine years, I think. I'm trying to do the math here. I think it's 9 years, a little more than 9 years. So, anyways, that's the rule of 72, and that's how rich people think about money. So, how do you think about money? Do you think about it in the long term, short term? Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Do you want to, when you get a paycheck, what do you think you're going to do with it? Like when I get a paycheck, the first thing that I think of is, man, how much of this can I put towards, stocks, advertising, stuff like that. I don't think about, oh man, there's a new pair of pants at the Gap. At the Gap. Be better than the Gap. That's from a movie. Crazy Stupid Love. So, what do you guys do when you get a paycheck? Are you just happy? Are you like, oh, I get to... Actually, first thing you should do if you have it, you got to pay off your debt. I don't got debt. You might have debt. Don't ignore it. Just pay it off. Pay it off, everyone. So we got a few more points here. So this is a big one. I want you to remember this one too. This is the second major point here in this video. And I might wrap it up with this actually. So poor people, so how do they generate income? Okay, they have a job, right? Or a job. So they have a job. Not a good thing. Or I mean, it's a good thing. I just mean a lot of people hate their jobs, right? So what that is, this is a clock. Pretend that's a clock, right? So they put in time. They get money. And what do they do with it? Put in time, get money, and they buy, I don't know, I'll try and draw a shoe. Okay, we're going to pretend that this is a lady's shoe. This is a shoe. I promise. That's a shoe. Oh, God. This is why I didn't go to art school, everyone. This is why I didn't go to art school. So that's a shoe, right? So they put in time, they get money, they buy stuff with it. Right? So now what happens if you can't work? Say you break your leg. Yeah, you get unemployment. You might get some sort of unemployment or injury insurance or whatever. But let's just say you get hurt, so your hours go down, your money goes down, the stuff you can buy goes down, and more importantly, oh, wow, that was bad. More importantly, you can't really live properly off of not working and getting unemployment, right? So now there's some poor people that kind of want to get out of it. So their thought process is, oh, okay, so I'll put in more time, I'll get more money, and maybe I'll buy some more stuff actually. Because they get the more money, they're like, oh man, now I get to buy some basketballs or something. Actually, I like to buy basketballs too. I don't know if you guys have that thing. I'll buy a basketball every 6 months of a year. I wear mine out all the time. So yeah, anyways, time equals money equals more stuff. But here's the thing. By the time they hit 60 years old, they may have a bunch of this shit. Sorry for swearing. I forget that this is a family channel. I have 2 more where I'm allowed to swear. By the time they hit 60 years old, they have a lot of this stuff. The value of that stuff has gone down a ton, and they're left with 0 in the bank. So what do they got to do? This is work forever. This is the work forever model, right? Keep working until you die, right? So, moving down here, going to go to the middle class here. So, I guess we'll erase this. So, middle class people, how do they get paid? It's actually in a similar fashion. Usually, they get paid for their time. Now, this time, if you're middle class, it's usually more flexible. Like you're allowed to usually go into an office whenever you want to, as long as you get your stuff done. But yeah, you get paid for time. Just usually, it's a more flexible job usually. So you get paid for time. So there you go. You put in time, you get money. What do you do with it? What do middle class people do with the time they put in and the money they get? Well, some of them will buy an investment. So some of them will try and invest. Well, this is a house here. That's an attempt at a house. But that could be stocks, that could be bonds, that could be whatever. A lot of the times that they like to invest, save their money, stuff like that. And they kind of like to buy, oh man, I'll try and draw something else. We'll do a basketball. How about that? There we go. Or a baseball or whatever the hell that is. Oh my God, I cannot draw anything. So they like to invest a little bit, spend a little bit. Yeah, okay. So that model kind of works, right? So they get hurt. So let's just say their work hours go down. Sure, this will go down, but they have this, right? They have that investment or their savings to go on. So they can get by, have an okay life if they save up enough money, invest enough. So, and the people that want to get into the rich category, so what they do is they invest more of their time, they get more money, and they try to buy more investments. That's good. That's good. That's kind of what I'm in right now, actually, to be honest. Yeah. So like this is the area that most people my age start off in if they want to be here by the time that they're 30 or 25. You know, I have a passive income which is more than a lot of people my age have. Does anyone I know have passive income? I don't know. How many people do I know that are friends or even on Facebook that have passive income? I don't think I have any. That's weird. I just thought of that. That's kind of weird. They should be watching my videos. So rich people, what is their method of money making? This is big. This is big. This is how people need to think. Okay? So rich people don't start off here. If you're rich, you do not start off there. What rich people do is they have investments. There's the door. There's a nice house, beautiful house. We'll do 2 windows. 2 windows, maybe a little grass here. It's good. So they have their investment. They get paid from that investment without really doing anything. It's maybe put in a couple hours here if it's a house or something, property management. So they get money for that. And then what do they do with that money? There's 2 things that they do with it. They use it to get more investments. So there's another beautiful house. But more importantly, this is probably the most important thing in this video, and it's probably what I'm going to end on. They use that money to get time. Free time. So there's a quote, or it's not a quote, but it's an example I like to talk about. It's Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary, a guy from Shark Tank, Dragon's Den. He's on CNBC all the time, or business news. I think it might be BNN now. I forget if he changed. But what he was in an interview once, and they asked him about money. You know, why do you like all this money? He said, well, I'm doing this interview right now, but I could walk out of here and there's nothing you can do or say to stop me. I could go right now, go to my cottage in Muskoka, and no one can say anything. That's what money is. That's freedom. That's power. And that's what I want. That's his quote. That's also what I want to. And that's what everyone wants. So I don't know if you noticed this, but these are reversed. And this isn't even on here. See this? See shoes? That's not on here. That's not how rich people think about money. Yeah, they buy stuff eventually, but that usually comes after you're a multimillionaire and you can do whatever you want, right? So, and again, and this is kind of a positive feedback loop too. So, yeah, you get your investment, you make money, get more investments, make more money. And then you use that to get more investments, you make more money, right? That's how it works. And eventually, once you have enough investments, let's just say you have 10 of these, you have 10 giant, I don't know, apartment buildings or something, or rental properties that are doing well and paying you, I don't know, a good amount is $100,000 a year. Then all of a sudden, you can do what you want. You got lots of time, you can go run a charity or something, right? So this is kind of the summary of this video here. And yeah, this is an important thing that I wanted to talk about. I should have just done a video on this alone. So in summary, poor people use time to make money to buy stuff that they don't need, right? Middle class people use time to make money to buy some stuff that's investments and some stuff that they don't need. Rich people use investments to make money to buy more investments and give themselves more time. That is a good way to wrap up this video. So leave a question, comment, what do you guys think? Where do you want to be? Obviously, if you're watching this video, you probably want to be here, right? But I know a lot of people are like, well, money doesn't buy happiness. I'd be completely happy poor. Well, okay, when you're 60 and you're looking back in your life with $0 in your bank account and 0 investments and no one will hire you because you're 60, are you going to look back in your life and kind of regret that, $1,000 TV purchase they made when you were 22, 23, 24? Probably. Maybe that $1,000 goes towards a down payment on an investment property, which you could use that to pay for more investments and get more investments, get more investments. And when you're 60 years old, maybe you're worth $10 million instead of 0. That's what I'm trying to say here. So invest your money, guys. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Follow me. I'm gonna post my new Twitter account. It's kind of an old Twitter account. I have two, but I'm thinking I just only have one because I only really tweet off one anymore. It's called The Jack Sai. Go follow it. Sometimes I'll post occasional tweets. Go follow me on Instagram. I'll start posting on there again. And yeah, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Hope you like this video. You're all very beautiful people. Stay rich, everyone. And I'll see you next time.